మ్యాక్స్ ఏక తయారనేది
Hello. Hello.
Good evening, sir.
Hello.
Sir, audible. Your voice is audible.
వాయిస్ ఆడిబుల్గా ఉంది కానీ ఈ మధ్యలో ఈ వీళ్ళు ఆ డిస్టర్బెన్స్ మాత్రం బాగుంది. నిన్న కూడా ఇష్టం వచ్చేట్టు మాట్లాడక ఎవరో ఇద్దరు.
I request all the participants to unmute your mic until unless if it is required. That you are not supposed to switch on webcam. It is going to create noise to the participants and it consume more bandwidth. Okay. So all of you request to unmute your mics.
So yesterday we have discussed about the brief basics of AI, and also we have discussed about agents also. Agents. So here agent, if you see agent-centric view AI, so AI operating in an open environment. So all AI machines or AI applications will work in the open environment. So mainly these agents, you can observe the images. This is the environment. And agent is nothing but a sensor. It is going to extract information from the environment. So it is environment, sensing, and also according to the information, according to the decisions taken, some actions are performed by the effectors. Effectors means moving the hands of robots or moving the wheels, moving forward, moving backward, actions. So this environment, we are going to extract the information from the environment, sensing, action, and the knowledge. So as well as when you are dealing with limited resources, that means computational type of computer we are using, limited memory, communication, internet bandwidth, etc. All these also plays a vital role when we are dealing with the agent. So agents applications are information gathering, collecting the information from different sources, integrating, and some we have distributed sensors also. Distributed sensors. Some sensors may be hand sensors, some may be eye sensors, some may be moving leg sensors, etc. And in e-commerce also we can use these agents to find out our interest, ranking, etc. So distributed virtual organization, virtual humans for training, entertainment, etc. So basically, what is an agent? So different meanings are there. If it is situated, sense and act in dynamic, uncertain environment. So around a artificial intelligence machine, we have some uncertain environment. That means environment may be continuously changing, a real-time environment, a dynamic environment. We have some dynamic environment. The environment is continuously changing, and sensing information is sensing. And it must be also flexible, reactive, response to changes in the environment, proactive. So reactive response to changes in the environment. Kindly unmute, everybody unmute. Don't disturb the class. Don't disturb the class. So it must be both reactive and if possible, it is also proactive, acting ahead of time. And it is autonomous. Exercise control over its actions, own actions. And it is purposeful. A goal, it has a goal, purposeful. And it is adaptive, learning adaptive. And continuously running process. Interacts with other agents or people and able to transport itself, character and emotional state. All these are the properties of this agent. The simple reflexive agents. Reflexive agent means it takes the information and according to the decisions taken by the machine, it acts. And agents, they keep track of the world or environment, explicit representation of domain knowledge, runtime problem solving and reasoning, and modeling the world, self-modeling and meta-reasoning. So normally some of the agents may be different from traditional view of a system definition. So when you take a sensor, a static input, and effectors, fixed output. So normally these two we have in the AI machine. AI machine has sensors which read the static inputs, static information. And effectors, nothing but like a moving arm or moving legs or motors, etc., fixed output. The goal is to produce the correct output. And the environment is static or irrelevant. We fall into the category of traditional systems. So these are traditional systems. Normally, traditional systems are used in the static environment. That means environment is not changing. The environment is not changing. But environment is always changes. It may be dynamic. If it is a continuous runtime process, definitely environment will be dynamic. For example, if you take autonomous vehicles, definitely there does not occur any static environment. There occurs a dynamic environment. Sensing may be an ongoing situation assessment process. Effectors may require complex planning. Goal may be defined with respect to current state of environment. So that's why some of the intelligent agents, they are used for the dynamic environment. So normally there is no any universal approach to design an agent. It depends upon different applications. And also it depends upon different architectures, different class of problems, different environments, etc. So we cannot define a particular agent can be used for all purpose of applications. So it depends upon the problem. Now let us see what is the problem. You must here clearly define the problem, problems such as space, problem states. Then only we are able to design an agent. So problem solving process for generating solutions from observed data. So we are extracting the data and we are going to solve a problem. So definitely every problem has a goal or a set of goals. Every problem has a minimum goal or a set of goals, a set of objects, and also a set of operations. Set of objects and set of operations. These could be ill-defined and may evolve during the problem solving. So we cannot define clearly when you are solving the problem. Definitely they may change also. So to build a system to solve a problem, define the problem precisely. Completely you must understand the problem. Completely the problem must be defined. Analyze the problem, understand the problem, analyze the problem. Isolate and represent the task knowledge that is necessary to solve the problem. So unnecessary knowledge is not needed. The relevant knowledge, the task knowledge, we need the task knowledge. That must be isolated. choose the best problem solving techniques and apply it to the particular problem. So we may have many techniques to solve a problem. Many approaches may there to solve a problem. So we must select the best technique, which has the very low time complexity and very low space complexity, and which is more efficient. And coming to such a space, or we can call it as state space also. The state space form the basis of most of the AI methods. Formulate a problem as a state space such by showing the legal problem states, legal operators, and initial and goal states. So every problem has a state space. Every problem has a such space. So such space is nothing but a set of all the number of states, the problem in problem, legal states, and legal operators, and initial and goal states. For example, if you take chess, there are total number of states. When are moving, the states are changing. All the operators means coins which you are using to play, and also initial state. In the initial state, all the 16 coins will be one side, and the goal state means keeping the check to the king or queen. So all these commander together form a such space. The set of all states, legal problem states, and set of all legal operators, and also initial and goal state. A state is defined by specification of the values of all attributes of interest in a world. At a particular time, every parameter or every attribute has a particular value. That is called a state. If the value changes, state also changes. The attributes values changes, the parameter values changes, then the state also changes. An operator changes one state into another. So for example, when we are moving a horse in the chess game, definitely state will change. So all the coins in the chess game are operators. So it has a precondition, which is the value of certain attributes prior to the application of the operator, and set of effects, which are the attributes altered by the operator. Definitely when the operators are moving, the values of the attributes will change. When we are moving the coins in the chess game, definitely the opponent coin values will change. Now, if you observe any game, in every game, we can observe that whenever a coin, whenever a operator will move, definitely the state of the operator or state of the game will change. So state is nothing but a set of values, the values of attributes at a particular instant or a particular time. And operator is nothing but which changes this state. Initial state is nothing but when you are starting, and goal state is nothing but reaching the final destination, all of you. So if you define a problem now with respect to state space, define a state space that contains all possible configurations of the relevant objects. So now we must define a state space that contains all the possible configurations of the relevant objects. Specify one or more states within the space and describe possible situations from which the problem solving process may start. That means initial state. And similarly, specify one or more state that would be acceptable as solution to the problem. So we have many states are there. Among the state, one may be initial state and one may be final state, and remaining states are intermediate states. And also we might write some rules and regulations that describe the actions to be available. Actions is nothing but operators. How to move the chess coins, how to move elephant, how to move horse, how to move soldier. So every coin in the chess game has its own rules and regulations when it is moving. So when you think a chessboard, so number of states will be there. Initial state is there, goal state is there. When we are moving the coins, when you are moving these chess elements like a horse or a minister, or the states of the chess game will change. One state to another state, it is changing. So let us take an example of Aitken's problem. 8 queens. So initial state, an empty 8 into 8 board is there, checkboard is there. Any agreement of 0 to 8 queens on board. Operators, add a queen to any square. So we are going to add a queen. We are going to place a queen. And goal is nothing but the board must contain 8 queens according to the rules. None attacked. None attacked means according to Devin's rules. That means no 2 queens must be horizontal line, no 2 queens must be on the vertical line, or no 2 queens must be diagonal line. And path cast here not applicable. Sometimes in some problems we must have the path cast also. For example, traveling salesman problem or minimum spanning tree, etc. We require the path cast also. Anyhow, here there is no need of estimating the path cast. Now, what is the difference between state space and search tree? State space means, as we said, it is a set of valid states. It is a set of legal states of a problem, are linked by operators. No doubt of it. Each state is linked to another state by operators. Or we can move from one state to another state by the operators. For example, in traveling salesman problem, 20 valid states, 20 cities. Some example, nothing but. And whereas search tree means it has a root node, there is nothing but initial state. And child node, there the states can be visited from the parent. And the depth of the tree can be infinite via repeated states. And partial search tree means portion of the tree that has been expanded. That means we can convert the state space into a search tree. Leaves of the partial search tree, candidate for expansion of search trees, data structure to search the state space. So why I am telling this is, every problem has different states, different operators, an initial state and a goal state, and they are all linked together. They are linked together from initial state to goal state. To reach, operators are moving. Whenever an operator is removed, the states will be changed. This type of scenario is very, very nearer to the search tree, like a search tree. So we can convert the state space like a tree, and we can perform some algorithms like breadth first search, depth first search, like that. Some search algorithms in our subject. That's why I'm telling. So every problem has a search space, and every search space can be represented by a search tree. So now we are going to discuss about some search algorithms. So these are the four important properties of search algorithms: completeness, optimality, time complexity, and space complexity. Completeness means it must have completely a solution, at least one solution. It must have at least one goal. It must have at least one goal. Then only we can say that algorithm has a complete algorithm. Complete algorithm. So definitely, it must reach the goal. It must have a solution. And optimality, it is the guarantee to the best solution. Some may be feasible solutions, but they may not be optimal solution. So you must find out the optimal solution. For every problem, there may be many solutions which obey given conditions, given restrictions and conditions. So given conditions and restrictions, for every problem, we have many solutions. They are known as feasible solutions. They are known as the feasible solutions. Whereas among them, we have only one best solution, that is called a optimal solution. That is known as the optimal solution. So a best search algorithm means it must give optimal solution also. The best search algorithm must give optimal solution also. And all of you know this time complexity and space complexity. the upper bound on the time required to find a solution, the maximum time required to find out a solution, and space complexity is the upper bound of storage space, memory. So as possible as a best algorithm means it must give less memory, less time, and optimality best solution, and at least completely one goal. It must reach the one goal. Again, we have a question: why such? So that is due to uncertainty agent knowledge. We are not able to acquire correct knowledge, and also non-determinism. So an agent with several immediate options of unknown value can decide what to do by first examining different possible sequences of actions that lead to states of known value and then choosing the best sequence of actions. So when a robot sees the environment, for example, let us take an example. It must walk on a road. But when a robot sees with its eyes, it is able to extract entire environment around the robot. Then it must decide which is the best sequence of actions that will make the robot to walk on the road itself. There may be many actions, there may be many number of actions, but only some of the actions, they lead to best sequence of actions to walk on the road. That's why we need the such algorithms. So such simulates actions in the world to some level of abstraction to understand how to proceed or to solve a problem. Such simulates actions in the world to some level of abstraction to understand how to proceed or solve a problem. So within the less time, we are able to solve a problem. Within the less time, we are able to solve a problem. So we have many real world problems. For example, speech understanding. That means speech means is nothing but a signal. Speech is nothing but a signal. So signal interpretation and some theorem proving and some VLSI layout, combinatorial optimization, robot navigation, what I told an example, robot navigation. It must walk in a particular direction, path planning, and factory scheduling, flexible manufacturing, symbolic computation. These are all examples. There are examples which we need such best search algorithm to find out a best solution. So the state space model provides a formal definition of a problem. What constitutes a solution to a problem? Now, as we said, we are defining the states, all possible complete and sometimes maybe partial solutions. And operators, these are nothing but the actions that generate new states from existing states. Operators are nothing but the actions that generate the new states from the existing states. And a solution is nothing but a state that is nothing but a goal state whose attributes have certain properties and maybe a sequence of operators that will change the initial state to goal state. All these are definitions. The set of operators or sequence of operators which are used to change the initial state to goal state is a solution, nothing but a solution. So a solution is found by searching through the state space or a search tree. So how the solution is found? We are going to search through the state space until a goal is reached with specific properties, with specific conditions. So obeying some conditions and obeying some rules and regulations, the searching must be carried out. So some properties may be global properties, some properties may be local properties. So searching is nothing but exploring the tree, search a tree, exploring the tree. That means searching and verifying every state space until a solution is found. The effective search involves finding a solution without the entire state space. So effective search involves finding a solution without exploring the entire state space. So if you want to explore the entire state space, it takes infinite time. It takes infinite time. For example, if you take 8 8 Keynes problem only, we have 8 factorial options are there, solutions are there. We must verify all these solutions. So if we verify all these solutions and to find out the optimal solution, it takes more number of years. That's why a best searching algorithm, an optimal searching algorithm is needed, though, so that the searching must be only a partial searching, but not be a complete search. A complete search means it takes more number of years. That's why you must reduce the time complexity. So best searching algorithms are needed for reducing the time complexity. And searching the partial solutions. Finding a path from the initial state to the goal state. So we have different states and state spaces. Operators representing possible actions. States and state spaces. Operators representing possible action. And successor function. State to set of action pairs, set of pairs. Nothing but successors also, nothing but set of pairs. Action, successor states. All are states only. Whenever the operator is changing, action is enabled, definitely states will change. And initial state and goal state, and sometimes path cost also is involved. Sometimes path cost. So deterministic, fully observable, single state problem solution is a sequence. So what is the solution in this type of search? A solution to a search problem is a sequence of operators that generate a path from the initial state to goal state. As I told, we are going to generate a sequence of operators that create a path between the initial state to goal state. An optimal solution is a minimal cost solution. So solution cost versus search cost, which one to be optimal? Normally, almost all they both are same. Solution cost versus search cost means search cost must not be more than the solution cost. For example, I will give a small example. I want to search a gold ring. Just I missed it in a big campus like a college. So it is a valuable, the solution cost is valuable. So I can spend more time. That is search cost. If I lost a pen, 5 rupees pen, then the search cost, there is no need to search again. It is nothing but a 5 rupees pen. So search cost must be always less than the solution cost. Normally they both will be same in this example. In our searching examples. State space representation. There is a state corresponding to each city. For example, route finding. We take an example of route finding. We want to find a best route to cover all the cities. To cover all the cities, we need a best route. So each city we can state it as a state, and initial state is the starting state, and goal state is the destination state. Goal state is the destination. Operators corresponds to roads. So here nothing but a road is nothing but an operator. If you take a road, definitely the state will change. That means city will change. We move from one city to another city. So there is an operator city A to city B. If there is a road from city A to city B. So this is an initial state is Arad. Some city name is Arad, initial state. And goal state is Bucharest. We must move to Bucharest. So we are using here to expand using a tree, such a tree. So from Arad we have 3 roads to Cebu, Timisoara and Jerin. So we are going to estimate which city is the very nearer. Again from Cebu, Like that, every time we see the lowest cost, minimum cost, and move forward. So these are all partial solutions. Similarly, another example, we have 8 puzzle. This is the starting state. That means the puzzle boxes, the checks are the check boxes are randomly generated. They are not in the sequence. This is the goal state. In goal state, they must be in correct state 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So a random puzzle will be given having randomly these whatever say checks or some tiles. These tiles, and these tiles must be moved so that we need to goal state. So states are nothing but integer locations of tiles. Integer locations of tiles. Actions: move blank left, right, up, down. We can move. This is the blank tile. This is the blank tile. You can move from down, left, right, something. And to reach the goal state is nothing but this is the goal state. Path cost 1 per move. So if you move one tile, it is 1 per move. Total path cost is how many number of steps we are using, how many number of tiles we are moving to reach the goal state. So solving n puzzle problems, optimally it is NP hard problem, and it takes 10 to the power of 20 states for 5 into 5 board. See here, if it is a 5 into 5 board, this is a 3 into 3 board. If it is a 5 into 5 board, it has 10 to the power of 25 states. So it requires a lot of time to solve it. Similarly, 8 queens problem, all of you know. 8 queens problem. All the queens must be placed on the 8 into 8 board such that no 2 queens are same horizontal line, same vertical line, same diagonal line. So initial state is nothing but arranging the board, queens on the board, an empty board, and operators are nothing but placing a queen. Goal is nothing but 8 queens to be placed in the particular places. Path, here there is no path cost. There is no path cost. Whereas here this is the path cost. Path is nothing but a 1 per move. Some examples it has path cost, some it is not. So if you want to go for this 8 queens problem, if n is even but not from 6k plus 2, we have some rules also to place. This is an algorithm. J comma 1 plus 2j minus 1 plus n by 2 minus 1 mod n, and n plus 1 minus j n minus 2j. This mod is algorithm. According to this algorithm, we place this queens there. And similarly, robot assembling. Robot assembling. All the states are real valued coordinates. Here we have coordinates: rotating right, rotating left. See here, many rotating instruments are there. This spindle will rotate. This spindle will rotate. Here, this spindle will rotate. This one is rotating. All these are rotating objects are there. So when you are rotating, it is nothing but real value coordinates of robot joint angles. So all the states are nothing but the angles are left, right, 30 degrees, 45 degrees, etc. How many degrees we are going to use like this. Angles are nothing but here the states. Here the states angles. And actions are operators are nothing but the continuous motion of this robot joints. And goal test is another completely assembly, and path cost is nothing but how much time it takes. And similarly, we have taken another example of crypto arithmetic. These are all examples of problem solving, different problems, and different problems. Crypto arithmetic. We want to initial state is nothing but a puzzle with some letters replaced by digits. So a puzzle is given, replaced by digits. And operator replace all occurrences of letters with non-repeating digit. So we are replacing all occurrences of a letter with non-repeating digit. Goal is nothing but puzzle contains non-repeating digits for each different in the puzzle. Nothing but the crypto analysis, encrypting or decrypting. Here also path cost is not applicable. So state space nothing but we can treat it as a graph. the set of states reachable from initial state via some operator sequence. Or we can call it as problem space or search space or state space. If we represent in the form of a tree, we can call it as a search tree. And a path is nothing but a sequence of operators from one state to another state. In a search tree, it is nothing but sequence of edges moving from one node to another node. And solution, a path from initial state to goal state. And partial solution may a path from initial state to an intermediate state. And goal is nothing but a final state we are reaching. And path cost is nothing but it depends upon a problem we can have. And search tree, we can use the search tree to represent this state space or search space. Graph real node, search tree is a subgraph of state space. And search involves maintaining incrementally extending a set of partial solution. All of you know search trees and expanding these trees, exploring the trees, etc. So anyhow, problem finalizing solutions are key issue in defining states. So very, very important is for every problem, we must define the states, which objects and relations to be present, which configurations object relations need to be mapped into separate states. And another key issue regarding the operators is may have to make explicit unstated assumptions in the problem description, how state specific journal should be operated, how much domain specific knowledge should be compiled. So developing an effective state space representing a problem is using appropriate abstraction. So this is very, very important. When a given problem is given, we must decide what is the initial state, what is the goal state, how many number of states are there, what are the operators. So this is the how we are going to represent a problem. So let us go for one example, one searching algorithm, the depth first. All of you know this depth first search as. Depth first search always expands one of the nodes at the deepest level of the tree. So depth first search, depth first. That means we are going to explore the node at the deepest level. The search only go back once it hits a dead node. So whenever the node is not suitable node, or we are not, if we feel that it is unable to reach the goal, then it goes back. Depth first has a modest memory requirements. It only needs a storage, a single path from the root to leaf node. For problems that have many solutions, DFS may actually be faster than BFS because it has a good chance of finding a solution after exploring on a small portion of the whole space. So this is one of the advantages of DFS versus BFS. So it only explores the partial solution, a small portion of the whole space. There is no need to go search the entire space. There is no need to search the entire space. It only searches the partial portion. Therefore, the time complexity is very less, and it is very, very better than the BFS. So one problem with the DFS is that it can get stuck going down the wrong path. So this is another problem. So when it is going the wrong path, it will get stuck and it come again back. So many problems have very deep or even infinite search trees. So if it is infinite search tree and very deep, and when you reach at the end of the that path, and where there it is not, if we prove that it is not a solution, again going back, it takes more time. So DFS should be avoided for trees with large and infinite maximum depths. So DFS must be used for a minimum depth only. If the maximum depth is there, we should not prefer for the DFS. If a large depth problem is there, then definitely DFS will give a lot of cost. So it is common to implement DFS, the recursive function. So generally recursive functions are used to implement the DFS, to recursively call its children. So let us see how the properties of this depth first search, whether it is a complete, what is the time complexity, space complexity, optimal, whether it is optimal or not. So complete, no, it is not complete. Fails in infinity depth spaces. and spaces with loops, modify to avoid repeated states along the path, complete in finite spaces. So it is only complete in finite space. DFS is only useful for the finite space and also for the minimum depth. It is only useful for minimum depth and also for finite space. If the depth is infinity, we are not able to find out the solution. And also if the loops are there, it is also very difficult to find out the solution. And if there are repeated states, again the machine will stuck there only at the repeated states. And similarly, time complexity is b to the power of m. If m is much larger than d, that means depth of the solution. But if solutions are dense, may be much faster than the breadth first. And space is b into m. Space is nothing but the b into m. It is a linear space. So memory-wise, it is very better, memory-wise, but the time complexity is more. When it is deeper, the time complexity is b is nothing but maximum branching factor, number of children for a parent node, branching factor of such tree, and m is the maximum depth. M is the maximum depth. If the number of branches increase, definitely the time complexity increases. And if maximum depth increase, again definitely time complexity increases. So it must be minimized. So a nominal such tree, this DFS is very suitable. So that's why we are limiting the depth. Practical DFS, we are not going to implement, we are not going to the search algorithm for the deepest problems, infinity depth problem. We are going to minimize the depth. That's why it is called as depth limited search. That is called as the depth limited search. So depth limited search avoids the pitfalls of DFS. Depth limited search avoids the pitfalls of DFS by imposing cutoff on the maximum depth. So always you must impose the cutoff on the maximum depth. One can ask, if you impose the cutoff on the maximum depth, what about the completeness? Definitely completeness also affects. If you choose a depth limit that is too small, then DL is not even complete. That I told. DLS is not complete. So you must choose the depth, a proper depth, so that the solution must be, there must be a solution also. You must have completeness also. So if you go greedy and if you minimize the depth, then the solution may not be occur, then the algorithm may not be complete. The time and space complexity of DLS is similar to DFS. So almost all, they both are same. So depth limited search, it has completeness. Yes, it has completeness only if L is greater than or equal to D. And time complexity, b to the power of 1, b to the power of L, sorry. And space complexity b into L, b is nothing but branching factor and L is the depth. Here D is the threshold, some threshold. Optimality, no, we can't find out the optimal solution. And next we have another one, iterative deepening search. Iterative, the hard part about DLS is picking a good limit. So as we discussed, depth limited search. At what depth we are going to find out the solution? That is very, very important. We cannot estimate that one. It must be done empirically only. So this is a very hard part of the DLS, picking a good limit. So that's why they developed another algorithm that is called as iterative deepening search. Iterative deepening search is a strategy that sidesteps the issue of choosing the best depth limit by trying all possible depth limits. It is a strategy that sidesteps the issue of choosing the best limit by trying all possible depth limits. By possible depth limits. First depth 0, then depth 1, depth 2. That means slowly we are moving. First, initially we check out for the depth of 0. That means at the root level. And the depth of 1, level 1, level 2, level 3. So repeatedly, we increase the depth and we try to find out the solution. That means it is an iterative process. That's why it is called as iterative deepening search technique. Iterative deepening search technique. So first level we are trying. If we are not able to find out the solution, we are going for again second level, again third level, so on. So level 0, level 1, level 2, we are going to find out solution. Now what about the properties? Whether it is complete, whether it is optimal. So complete, yes, it is yes. We are going to find out solutions at particular level. But the time is very, very large. Initially depth 1, again second level, again third level. So go on. So time complexity order of b to the power of d. And space is b into d. And optimal, yes, it is optimal. Why it is optimal? We are going to find out level by level. Definitely we are going to find out the best solution. So IDs may seem wasteful because so many states are expanding multiple. So this is another drawback. So when we observe repeatedly, we are using the same states to explore. The same states are expanded, are explored many times, many number of times. Repetitive. For most of the problem, however, the overhead of this multiple expansion is actually rather small. So sometimes in some problems it may be small. So major cost is at fringe where solution is this last fringe only occurs once. It combines the benefits of DFS and BFS. It is optimal and complete, like BFS, and has modest memory requirement. So that's why it is very useful. It has the properties of both DFS and BFS also. So most of the algorithms in AI is prefer IDS is prefer search method when there is a large search space and depth of the solution is not known. If the depth of the solution is known, then there is no problem with the DFS, depth first search. And we have another search also, bidirectional search. This is bidirectional BFS. When a branch from a start node meets a branch from the goal node. So search forward from the initial state and search backwards from the goal state. That means both from the start node to the goal node and goal node to initial node. That's why it is called as bidirectional search. Stop when 2 meets in the middle. Why is this good? When can you do such a search? Each search checks each node before it is expanded to see if it is in the fringe of other search. It is completeness. Definitely it has solution. And time complexity is less, b to the power of d by 2. Half the way. Space complexity is more, b to the power of d by 2. That means we must expand the tree completely and we must search. And also we have optimality. So when you compare all these, breadth first search, uniform cost, depth first search, depth limited, DLS, iterative deepening, and bidirectional. So see the time complexity. Iterative deepening and bidirectional if applicable. B is the branching factor and D is the depth of the solution. And M is the maximum depth of the search tree and L is the depth limit. So BFS, IDS, and BDS, bidirectional search, are optimal only if step costs are identical. Iterative deepening search uses only linear space and not much more time. So this is about the searching strategies we have discussed. And we have another searching technique also that is called heuristic search. These are all blind search strategies. Blind search strategies means without knowing any information about the problem, without knowing any logic or without having any logic or without any having some strategy, we are searching. That's why we call them as blind searching strategy. Now we are going for a heuristic search. So it is called as informed search. We have some information, problem specific knowledge. If you have some problem specific knowledge, then definitely we can have less time, searching time, like we can reduce the searching time. And the performance of searching also may be improved. That's why we call it as heuristic search. ఒక చిన్నపిల్లాడు ఏదో పారేసుకున్నాడు, ఎక్కడో ఏదో వెతుకుతున్నాడు. ఏం పారేసుకున్నాడు చెప్పట్లేదు, ఎక్కడ పారేసుకుని చెప్పట్లేదు. ఇంకేం చేస్తాం, వెతకాల్సిందే. దట్ ఈస్ బ్లైండ్ సర్చ్. అలా కాకుండా ఎక్కడ పారేసుకున్నాడు, ఏం పారేసుకుని ఇవన్నీ చెప్తే దెన్ వీ కెన్ మినిమైజ్ ది సర్చింగ్ స్ట్రాటజీ. That is called as heuristic search. That is known as the heuristic search. So heuristic means a problem-specific knowledge that reduces expected search effort. So we need some knowledge about the problem which we are going to solve. We need some knowledge about the problem we are going to solve. That is known as the heuristic. So informed search, we can classify into uninformed, informed, or blind and open. So this is open search. Informed search uses a heuristic evaluation function that denotes the relative desirability of expanding a node. So when you are expanding a node, what information you are using, how to, what strategy you are using, what logic you are using, often includes some estimate of the cost to reach the nearest goal state from the current state. So we must have some estimation from goal state to current state to reach the nearest goal. How much of the state of the search does it take into account in making this decision? How much of the state of the search does it take into account in making the decision? So in blind search techniques, such knowledge can be encoded only via state space and operator representation. So already we have seen these blind search techniques, DFS, DLS. In those techniques, the knowledge can be encoded only, we have only knowledge about the number of states, and operators and their actions. So more than that, we do not have any knowledge. Whereas here, you consider this problem, 8 puzzle problem. Previously, we have seen this 8 puzzle problem. When we are considering this 8 puzzle problem, we have tiles are there. We must move the tile left or right, up or down, and we must get the solution. Operator is nothing but action to move the tiles. So cost per move is nothing but the 1 per move. We do not have any other information to solve this puzzle. That's why we call it as a blind search technique. Whereas now, if I have given some information about this puzzle, that means how many number of misplaced tiles are there, or some Manhattan distance. For example, see here, actually, if you observe these two, how many number of misplaced tiles are there? That we can calculate. Or Manhattan distance. Manhattan distance means actually this is the place of 7, but the 7 is here. So what is the distance from here, this position to this position? 1, 2, 3, 3 slides away, 3 tiles away. Now there is 7. This is Manhattan distance. Or how many number of misplaced tiles are there? This is somewhat additional information. We need to solve this problem. Then we call it as a heuristic search problem. Similarly, in a traveling salesman problem, traveling Euclidean distance, which is the nearest city, and similarly traveling minimum spanning tree, which is the minimum distance. So all this information is called as the informed search or heuristic search. Now the question is, where do these heuristics will come from? Where do these heuristics come from? So heuristics from relaxed models. Heuristics can be generated via simplified models of the problem. So if we observe a problem, definitely we can model it, and we can extract some heuristics, some information from the problem. As if you see this puzzle game, we can see how many number of tiles are misplaced, or what is the distance from the previous position to original position. Like that, these are all from the simplified model. So simplification can be modeled as deleting constraints and operators. So without using constraints, we can have simplification model, and heuristic can be calculated efficiently. So if you have heuristic, definitely overhead will be less. So some of the informed search techniques are, some of the informed search strategies: best first search, greedy, and A-star algorithm, order depth first search, that is hill climbing, memory bounded search, iterative deepening A-star algorithm, ID-A-star, iterative deepening again, simplified memory bound algorithm, A-star algorithm, recursive best first, anytime A-star, RTA searching and technique, and steepest ascent hill climbing, random restart hill climbing, simulated annealing algorithm, hierarchical A-star, blackboard A-star. Like that, we have many informed search strategies. So at least one or two algorithms let us discuss, even though we cannot complete all these algorithms in the given time. So it is nothing but a the advent of heuristic means what we discussed is this problem specific knowledge that reduces the expected search effort. A heuristic evaluation function that denotes the relative desirability of expanding a node. So how we are going to expand it. One way to introduce heuristic knowledge into search, heuristic evaluation function, that is the best way to implement, is create a function like that we have created in the puzzle, Manhattan distance, or number of tiles misplaced. That is nothing but a function. Now you create a heuristic evaluation function H such that where psi is set of all states and R is a set of real numbers, maps each state S in the state space into a measurement H of S, which is the estimation of a cost extending the cheapest path from starting node to goal node. So from the starting node to goal node, when you are moving, you calculate H of S. S is nothing but a state in the state space, and H is the cost function. That means when you are moving a particular state, calculate the cost function H of S. For example, node A has 3 children, S1, S2, S3. So when you are moving from node A to S1, we may have a cost function H of S1 is equal to 0.8. And H of S2 is equal to 2.0. And H of S3 is 1.6. In the similar way, the value refers to the value refers to the cost involved for an action. For example, if you take Decision tree, I think all of you know Decision trees. When you are doing Decision trees, the cost estimation is based upon the entropy and also the gain function. So based upon the gain function, we are going to choose the best path or best next state. So here also we are going to calculate the value refers to the cost involved for an action to move from one state to another state. So being the smallest is heuristically the best. So whichever the best is, whichever the smallest, that is H of S1 is small, we will go that side. So here the problem is to estimate this value only, heuristic value. You must estimate the heuristic value. So let us see first one, best first search. Idea: use an evaluation function for each node which estimates the desirability. Expand most desirable unexpanded node. So implementation: open list is sorted in decreasing order or desirability. A combination of depth first and breadth first. Already we have discussed this one. Go depth first until node path is no longer the most promising one. then back up and took to other paths that were previously promising but not pursued at each such step, pursuing in a breadth first manner. So initially we go in a path. If it is not a solution, then we go to the next path. So start with open containing just an initial node, take an initial node. Until a goal is found or there are no nodes left open, pick a best node based on the heuristic function. So pick up the best node. So the root node has different children. So you must select any one of the children based upon the heuristic function. That is the best node. As I told you in decision tree, we are going to calculate gain function or entropy, something like that. Based upon these parameters, we are going to select the best node. If it is a goal node, return to the solution. Otherwise, generate its successors. Again, generate its successors. Again, calculate the heuristic function. For each successor node, it has been generated before, evaluate it, add it to open, and repeat it. So this is the process. Now we have again a question. This is a complete and optimal search. So simple form of best first search is nothing but a greedy search. It is nothing but a greedy search. A simple form of this one is a greedy search. Heuristic evaluation function h of n estimates the cost from n to the closest goal. So h of n estimates the cost from n to the closest goal. So straight line distance from the city n to the goal city Bucharest, if it is a traveling salesman problem. So greedy search expands the node that appears to be closest. So always greedy method will give a solution, but it is not a best solution. It is an optimal solution. So this is some traveling salesman problem. You start from Arad. So whichever the near it is going, but it may not lead to an optimal solution. Here the total cost of the path cost is 450, but it may not be optimal solution. So problems with the greedy solution is complete? No, can get stuck in loops if not maintaining closest list. So it is also not complete. It can get stuck if the loops are there. And time is order of b to the power of m, but a good heuristic can give still improvement. And space is also order of the power of b to the power of m, keeps all nodes in memory. We need all the nodes in memory. And optimal, definitely it is not an optimal. It does not give the minimum cost path. So here in this problem, in this example, the minimum cost is 418, whereas now the solution is giving 450. So it is not complete. It is not optimal. So we must estimate a heuristic function h, which is admissible, and monotonicity can be maintained when combining with the path max. So f of function of n dash is equal to maximum of f of n, comma g of n dash plus h of n. G of n dash is nothing but the cost where we are from the initial node, and h of n dash is the cost from our state to the final node. So equivalent to defining a new heuristic function h dash and save f of the parent as a part of the state node. So minimizing the total path cost, that is nothing but A star, minimizing the total cost. So greedy minimizes the estimated cost to the goal h of n, not optimal and incomplete. And uniform cost minimizes the cost of the path so far, g of n. So g of n is the so far cost from the initial node to present node, and is optimal and complete but can be very inefficient. So A star search combines both GS, that means greedy search, and uniform cost search to give f of n, which estimates the cost of the cheapest solution. So that for that purpose only they have developed another algorithm known as A star algorithm. So we must see, as I told, at least 2 or 3 algorithms like A star algorithm, ASR algorithm, hill climbing, simulate tunneling. So let us see in the next class some of the 2 or 3 algorithms. These algorithms tomorrow my colleague Anant Natarajan, my friend, is going to explain the practicals regarding the search algorithms, depth first, depth limited search, batch first, etc. So any queries on this session, today's session, any queries?
Sir,
If you have
feedback link is not opening.
feedback, amma. Sunil garu. Hello. Hello. Sunil garu. Sunil garu. So meanwhile, if you have any queries or any questions or any doubts, you can ask. Hello, Srikar garu. A feedback link open out like that. Srikar garu.
Sir.
So
The
open
feedback
sir.
link. Okay. So what is an agent? After listening everything, again asking what is an agent? Agent is nothing but, as I told, no, it is nothing but a sensor. We can assume it is a sensor or activator or effector which extracts the information and takes the decision. It is nothing but a small program like thing. Actually, it is not a complete, it is not a sensor. It is a small program which extracts the information from the environment through sensors and takes a decision and send the signal to the effectors and actuators. Any more question? Any more questions are there? So in this class, we have discussed what is the problem search space, and how it is very needed to the search tree, and what are different blind searching techniques, what are the drawbacks of these blind searching techniques, and also why we need heuristic search techniques. And tomorrow, next day, day after tomorrow class, we are going to have different types of algorithms. Okay, thank you for today. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Oh. Hello. Hello.